the NFL just made the biggest change they've probably ever made to the rulebook since adding helmets. And that is they destroyed the old kickoff format and replaced it with a version of the XFL's kickoff return. And this is going to confuse middle-aged and old men across the country for months, and they will be angry and just confused. But the change is here to stay, at least for this year, so we might as well understand it. So here is a diagram, because I figured this is the best way to understand it, not just reading the 3 or 4 paragraphs the NFL put out explaining it. And, forgive me, Microsoft Paint is about as good as I'm going to get, and I am not good at drawing. So what has not changed? The kicker, going with the X's and O's first. The kicker kicks it from the 35. And so on the opposing team, these guys, catches it and runs the ball back. Okay? Everything else has changed. So if you will, direct your attention down here. As the zones you've probably never heard of. The starting line, the setup zone, the landing zone. What are those? I'll tell you. First, the kick defense. The kickoff team. They line up on this 40-yard line, and I'll try to draw a straight line, and I didn't. But they line up on that 40-yard line. The kick return team, they line up anywhere in this zone. So from the 35 to the 30-yard line. You'll kind of see on this X's and O's, they are lined up a little scattered, and the defense is lined up in a straight line. So that is because that's in the rule book. They're allowed to do that. The reason is the XFL had them line up straight across from each other, 5 yards apart, and they found that the defense had a huge advantage because of this next thing. So the kicker kicks the ball, and these guys, all of them, cannot move until the ball either hits the ground or the kick returner catches it. The defense is looking straight at the kick returner where the ball's bouncing, and the offense has to look backwards towards it. So they have a reaction advantage because they're just running straight. And big advantage, essentially what would always happen is the kick returner would get about to the 20 and would get tackled. It was lots of one-on-ones, like these guys would pair up, these guys would pair up, these guys would pair up. And the hope is that allowing defensive players to stagger will add more strategy to it and will help the offense a little bit. Because while you may think, hey, this is way better for the kick returner, it actually wants it. Because in the XFL last year, there was only one kickoff return for a touchdown, and the year before there were just 2. So it's not like this happened all the time. And actually, most of the time, the field position was roughly the same as traditional NFL game. I don't think it's going to break the NFL. I think it will make it slightly more exciting. I feel like we kind of covered these guys. That leaves this landing zone and a few other pretty specific details to iron out. The kicker kicks it and ideally lands it in the landing zone. So here, in between the 20 and the end zone. If the kicker kicks it into the end zone or through the end zone, the kick return team can opt to just get the ball at the 30. If the kicker kicks the ball into the landing zone and it rolls into the end zone, and the kick return team doesn't want to return it, they can opt to get the ball at the 20. But they can't, it's not the 25 like it was last year, or it's not the 30. They would get it at the 20. So this is highly incentivizing kickers and kickoff teams to land the ball somewhere around there, just not in the end zone, really. So a really good one gets it to land right there, kind of like how they used to. If they kick it out of bounds, the kick return team gets the ball at the 40. And another big thing is there is no longer surprise onside kicks. I know everybody loves the idea of onside kicks, but in all reality, they really did not work. They didn't do much. They had such a small success rate that there's barely a point. So in the setup, of course, you can't do an onside kick. What can you do? The Eagles and a few other teams try to get past where you go for it 4th and 15 from your 35. Honestly, I hate this idea, so I'm glad it did not pass. What did pass is if you are behind, so like you're losing, and it is the 4th quarter or overtime, you can opt to do a traditional onside kick. And that's just what it is, a normal onside kick. That leaves one big question. What happens if you say you're going to do an onside kick and you don't? And that is, valid point. Haven't heard many people talk about it. And it's right here. If you kick it beyond the setup zone, which is the 30-yard line. So if you say you're kicking an onside kick and you kick it beyond the 30, then the other team gets the ball at the A20-yard line. So what's that? Well, it's your own red zone. So how they came up with that is the 35-yard line where you kick the ball from, then it's an unsportsmanlike penalty, which is a 15-yard penalty, which brings you to your 20. So essentially, you can't kick it past the 30, which requires you to just do a traditional onside kick. So I hope this video has explained it some. It's probably a little confusing still, but I think once we get used to it, it will be an improvement compared to just watching teams kick the ball out of the end zone every single time. I think it will add some excitement. I think some kick returners might become more important than they used to be, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it will be broken. I don't think it will be too easy to get long kick returns, and I support it. Thanks for watching, and please like, subscribe, and I'll see you later.